first initial reaction to the news that first Canada had made the decision that they weren't going to send athletes to the 2020 games?
hmm I think at first, personally, I was in a phase of not really wanting to acknowledge the potential of the games being postponed or canceled. I didn't want to hear it. I didn't really want to talk about it. I wasn't at a place where I was ready to wrap my head around that. And then this last week, um, hearing what we heard, I think all of us kind of instantly went into more of a calm state of mind, knowing that we did we did have somewhat of an answer. We just didn't know whether or not the games were going to be postponed or canceled. So I think having an answer was definitely brought some calmness to us, me personally, and I know us as a group. However, there was still a lot of uncertainty. But I think when we all found out, it was super important that we just supported what our Canadian Olympic Committee decided. And at the end of the day, their decision in the best interests of the global health just of the world in general. And that's the first and foremost priority that um, they cared about and we cared about. So I think it was really important that we just continued to trust that their decision was right, and it is, and that dreams were not crushed in hopes of the games being postponed and not canceled.
How are you feeling just emotionally overall, right? For so many people and not just yourself, 2020 was built up to be this big year. And it just, this year really hasn't panned out that way. How are you dealing with that emotional roller coaster that we're all on?
I mean, in all honesty, what just happened, it's super disappointing, and it does hurt. You know, you in your brain, you're mentally preparing for the Olympics to be on July 24th, right? We come back from Halifax. We're actually supposed to fly to Fresno, California today. We're supposed to be there for a month, and we're supposed to go to Japan. Like all these plans just canceled, right? So, you know, you're training all year or the last 4 year cycle to like for that one week, right? And now we don't know when that week is going to be. So it definitely forces a lot of uncertainty because there still is a lot of unknowns. But I think for us, we know that it's postponed. That's for sure. Now we wait to figure out when it's going to happen. So it's just day by day, continuing to focus on the facts, continuing to stay connected as a group, and continuing to wrap our heads around this new reality of 16 more months of preparation.
Talk a little bit about how you guys are staying connected. I know we talked briefly earlier about message from your head coach and then also hopping on Zoom to do some team calls. Can you talk a little bit about how important that's been?
Yeah, I mean, us staying connected as a group is one of our team. That's one of our team core values. So it's something that we take a lot of pride in our daily lives. So we have what's called Slack. It's something like a group me that we continue to stay in touch with, and we're quite frequent on. Obviously, now a lot of people are using Zoom, and FaceTime is really important to us. And we were starting to have players only meeting Mondays in Halifax, so we're definitely going to continue to do that through Zoom. So just being mindful of the fact that circumstances are different right now, and just kind of going out of our way to um, continue to stay connected, and just knowing that that's a core value that we would love to continue to take on in our daily lives, even though that we don't know when we're going to see each other next. So that FaceTime is super important, and taking the time to do that.
Absolutely.
And we do have a question on Facebook, if you don't mind me asking you. So we have a fan who asked, are all players able to come back in a year? Will y'all host new tryouts?
Ooh, good question. That all of the logistics of the selection process is still unknown for us. What we do know right now is we have the Olympic core of 20 athletes, and that's all that we know right now. We don't know, who's going to continue to stay on this 16-month journey for the next year and a half, and kind of so that stuff that individually people are definitely going to take the time to reflect on and figure out themselves as to whether or not people can kind of give this a go for another year and a half, because it takes its toll to train full time the way that we are training. And so I think we're just trying to respect everybody's individual process with it and what their decision is. But as of right now, there's 20 people in the pool.
Awesome. Thank you.
One thing, I mean, it's really easy to fall into the negative with this kind of news and what we've heard over the last several weeks. But on a more positive note, you've been with this program for a large part of your life. What do you find the most rewarding, or what's been the best experience that you've taken away from being with Team Canada?
It's like, it's crazy to think that I'm like still even playing right now, and I'm like 33 years old. It's crazy. And like, if all goes well moving forward, and I continue to stick this through, it's crazy to think that I'm going to be 34. But like, I'm just grateful that like I'm a part of something that I've never like wanted to leave. And I've, regardless of it being in the Olympics or not, I have just truly enjoyed representing Canada and wearing that across my chest, that I genuinely play for the love of the sport. And I'm ready to stop, I'll stop. But I haven't been ready to stop playing for the national team. And I feel grateful to be a part of a program that like makes me want to continue to like keep my softball career going.
Amazing. For the people watching, how can people continue to follow the team and follow the athletes? Where can they find you guys?
We're all on social media, obviously. So there's Twitter and Instagram. Canada does have both. Softball.ca has their website of all the updates and things. But a lot of us definitely are on social media, so continue to follow all the updates through that, and do as much as we possibly can to continue to update all of you guys on what our decisions are personally, and the things that we're doing as a team, and how plans will be significantly changing. But on behalf of Softball Canada, just I hope that you guys continue to not only stick with us, but stick with the sport, stick with baseball, stick with all the sports, because I think when the news was first told to us, like, I think people were like, oh my gosh, like it really felt like the world was kind of ending at moments, because you get so many text messages that people would say like, I'm so sorry, which I'm super, super grateful for. I think people really have acknowledged our work into being a high performing athlete. But it's important to know that like the dreams are still alive to be an Olympian, regardless if you're a baseball or softball player. It's going to be in. We just don't know when it's going to be in. So just stick with us, stay resilient. Our sport specifically has been resilient since 2008, and what's another 16 months? So just continue to adapt and really figure this thing out, and let's just stick together, because at the end of the day, that's what we need from our sport in the world right now.
Absolutely. Jenn, thanks so much. Always a pleasure to see you and to talk with you, and good luck with everything.
Thank you guys, and thank you guys for all that you guys do our sport. It's awesome how what a great job you guys are doing getting it out there. So thanks for all you guys do.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye. Wow. For those of you watching, I feel like more than ever, we need to come together and keep our own dreams alive, in the sense of there will be a day when this will be over, and to look forward to that day. Now, we can't mark it on a calendar or anything, but we can visualize that and work towards that as best we can. And there are a lot of people on social media who have become great resources for young softball players out there. If you follow the package deal, they launched their softball school on Monday, and they've got tons and tons of great instructors. People all over the world can join that school for $1. You can follow athletes that are in the NPF that are posting their workouts. We've posted a bunch of things on with Austin Wasserman, the symbiotic pitching program.
A lot of content to go around for sure.
Yeah. So while you're there on your couch or in your office, wherever you are, on your phone, follow some of these athletes. We need to be engaging with each other, and feel free to ask them questions and keep yourself balanced in all aspects, mentally, emotionally, physically, during this time, because it's really easy to go crazy.
Right. And I think a good thing is to create a routine as best as you can. I know that's something that I've been trying to work on personally. So I know that's something that could, help out with mental health. I know for me, I have really bad anxiety. So it's one thing that really helps calm it down. Yeah,
absolutely. Do we got any questions, Allie?
Let's see what we got. So Kelly asked, do you think Team USA will have tryouts again?
That's a great question. I don't know. I think a lot of these teams, there'll probably be an additional vetting process, to be quite honest with you. They have the ability to do that. But I'm not sure. With Team Canada and I think with Team Mexico, those teams are still being finalized. So this could all change. Somebody could have a serious injury too, and that changed the whole dynamics of the team and who gets a spot and who doesn't get a spot.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's unfortunate news, and there's been a lot of hype around just 2020 in general, and just sometimes things don't go our way, and we're forced to have to pivot and make different plans. And I think this is an opportunity to get creative,
right?
With what we do, how we think, how we approach things. So maybe use this time to learn more about the mental game. There are tons of books that you can read during this downtime to keep your mind fresh and to get a different perspective. And even for the young softball players out there, a lot of times you guys are training nonstop. You have games during the week, and then you have club practice over the weekend, and you have games, and it's rinse and repeat. So use this time to develop just stronger mental game.
So Ches, you mentioned so different books that you can read regarding mindset. Do you have any favorite ones that you've read so
Mind
far?
Gym's a great one. A lot of people seem to like that one. For when I was coaching, some of my favorite ones, obviously John Wooden, just a legendary basketball coach, fantastic. Augie Garrido's book really hit home for me as a coach. And then also Lou Holtz, who used to coach football for Notre Dame. All great books. You can hop on Amazon and kind of read the reviews, but there are a ton of great resources. So if you're bored out there, you can use that boredom as a time to research and find out what books or what audiobooks or softball school is a good match for you. And because you don't know, this is your time to explore. This is your time to discover more about yourself and the way you work and the things that you need to get better at mentally.
Right. Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree with that. And we do have another question from Kelly. She said, can Garcia redshirt again?
Great question. I would think so. This is probably a special case, just like with the NCAA, dealing with the seniors from 2020 having the eligibility to play in 2021. I think there's going to be some flexibility with rules when we get to the next academic year for the spring and for the winter sports. So we'll see.
And we have another question. More questions coming in. Bring them in,
guys. Bring them in. I'm ready. I had my coffee. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to send you that positivity, and then you guys send it right back. Okay, here we go.
So I have a question from Priscilla. Your thoughts on allowing seniors an additional year with an incoming freshman class coming, and who pays?
Great question. I think I try to put myself in the shoes of those seniors who had a season cut short, and if I had the ability to finish out that next year, I absolutely would take it the next year if it was an option. And I think it's fair given the circumstances. It'll be tricky with like some of the records that are on the verge of being broken and how that's going to be dealt with, because then we know that, like, just for instance, for Lauren Chamberlain's home run record, Jesse Harper's chasing it. I believe her home run numbers will still be applicable to the 2021 season. So I don't know if it'll have an asterisk or next to it or not. But with the incoming freshmen, I think it's going to make for a really exciting, competitive 2021 season, if you ask me. You're going to see teams with deeper bullpens, stronger offensive teams, just they're deeper in many more positions, but also this might restrict the travel for some of the rosters because they can only travel with 23. You might see larger rosters across the country, but that doesn't mean necessarily that all of them travel. So
we have a couple more questions coming in. So Daniel Rodriguez, he said, would Texas have beaten OU this year?
Yes. Probably not a sweep, but I think they would have taken one.
I think so too.
Yeah. I think they would have taken one.
As much as it hurts me.
Or two. I would have been happy with two. They would have, I believe they'll still have to go to Oklahoma next year.
That's going to be wild.
Yeah. Yes.
Another question from Kelly.
Right.
Who gets the head coach job at California?
I think Chelsea Spencer has a really good chance of getting that job. She's got a very strong resume. Obviously, she's coached at Oregon. She's coached at Texas. She's coached at Michigan State. At both Oregon and Texas, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. They've been really solid, making the World Series, finishing at the top of their conferences. So I think she has a really strong resume, but it'll really depend on who the AD hand selects. But I do think she's made a very strong case for herself as a front runner. And we'll see who the other ones are. With most of these big positions, we've seen that they're hand-selected positions. They're not positions where people are like openly applying for the job. They want who they want, and they're going to go after them. Right. Like we saw it at Clemson. The AD asked around about who was the best candidate. They went with John Rittman because his name kept coming up, and then he ended up getting that job. So I think the Cal position would be the same scenario. Big Power 5 program. They're going to go after their top candidate.
Right. Yeah, I think Chelsea Spencer's a good bet.
Yeah, I think she's a solid candidate.
So Jordan asked, also with this year off and the new transfer rules, do you think transfer rates will increase with all this going down?
Interesting. I think they'll pretty much stay the same, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll see a huge spike.
Right. Similar to like last year.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be like last year.
Yeah. Last year was insane.
So I think we'll see the transfer rates kind of level out. That's what I think.
Right.
Just because the other part of the transfer fiasco is we didn't hear the stories about the players that decided to transfer and they didn't have anywhere to go. Like there's a large portion of those players that kind of felt like they disappeared, and they reappeared eventually out of their programs, but like it was silent for a little while with some players, and it was surprising.
Right.
But yeah.
So Annie asked, "Where's Sarah?" And she said, "Oregon Ducks still rock."
Yes, I agree. The Oregon Ducks do rock. You know, Sarah, like I said earlier, if you join at the very beginning of the show, her head's getting a little bit too big.
Too big.
Being in the studio by herself, so we're just gonna deflate that ego just a little bit by kicking her out of the studio. Just kidding. She had a meeting, so she wasn't able to make today's show. So
Plot twist, she's outside the door right now.
I hope not. She's probably watching right now.
Yeah. Sarah, if you're watching, hi.
Awesome.
So one more question by Annie. She said, where do you think Oregon would have ended up in the Pac-12 at the end of the season?
I think they could have made a strong push for that 3 or 4 spot. I think getting past UCLA and Washington would have been a feat for them. And getting past Arizona would be a big feat, but I think pitching wise, they're pretty evenly matched in the circle. But Arizona, in my opinion, has a leg up offensively. So maybe 4 or 5.
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I agree with that. Do you want to take more questions? Or?
Sure. Yeah, keep them coming.
So
let's go, guys. Bring them.
Yeah, keep hitting us with these questions. So Cameron said, are they still allowed to recruit girls still even when the season is postponed?
I don't think so. This is one of the things that I hope to get a little bit more information for you guys. I think with these cancellations, and we don't know how long this is going to last, but it would be interesting to see how the recruiting calendar changes. Because if all of these recruiting dates are getting canceled essentially because there are no games that anyone could play, I would imagine that they'll have to change the recruiting calendar and bump those days. I'm just speculating here. Bump those days to the fall to even out the calendar and to give the players who would be recruited the opportunity to be recruited. So I think that we could potentially see more recruiting dates added to the fall, but we'll see. We kind of have to. It's a wait and see period. And you guys that know who are at the club level, some of your qualifiers are being postponed. Also at the high school level, which is a free opportunity for a lot of colleges to go recruit players. They simply can't. But those recruiting days are unlimited already, so it wouldn't really affect them. But the club would be the main concern, and I'm sure that's on everybody's radar.
Cool. We don't have any other questions so far.
Okay.
But
all right.
I have a question for you.
Yes, bring it.
So, Ches, when it comes to shopping during this pandemic, have you been able to find toilet paper? Because I still haven't been able to find any.
Damn, Allie.
I know.
What are you doing?
Well, my girlfriend gave me like a roll, so like I'm
I would have brought some with you today.
Dang. Mistakes were
Have
made.
you tried Amazon?
Yeah, like they're like selling for like $100 right now, which is like insane. Yeah.
So fortunately, before the announcement of the pandemic, I went to Target to buy toilet paper because I needed it.
Right. And you got some.
Yeah.
See,
I should have followed my instinct and bought 2, but I was like, no, Ches, you don't need to get too crazy about like, overbuying stuff that I might not need.
Yeah.
But I do regret it now because I should have just went with my instinct, which was to buy 2 rolls.
I honestly,
just was thinking, like another family might need this.
Right. And Allie might need some.
Yeah, exactly. And Allie might need this.
Yeah, it's been a struggle. But I'm doing whatever I can. I'm about to hit up some shops and see what I can find.
Oh my gosh. Okay, speaking of toilet paper, so one thing I didn't realize is like with everything shut down, it's just my mom and my dad are still out working, which definitely, it scares me a ton. But my mom's a mail carrier, and she was complaining to me that there's no place to use the bathroom because everywhere's closed.
Oh
and
my
I
gosh.
didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, but so if you see your mail person out there, and you've got an extra, toilet paper roll to hand to them, don't be afraid to donate. They're still out there working when a lot of us can work from home.
Yeah.
So
I
keep
actually
that in
saw
mind.
a video of this one person just had at least, I want to say like 4 or 5 stacks of toilet paper outside their front door, and they had a sign with like, for their whoever was delivering packages to take a package.
Yeah.
It was really sweet.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Any questions?
Let's see. So Jordan had a good one. Do you think Kat will go back to retirement if the Olympics gets canceled?
I don't know. I guess I need to talk to Kat about that. We were supposed to retire her jersey today.
Oh yeah, that's
know,
true.
dear.
I know you were so excited to go.
Yeah, and we will. I don't know when the date will be when we get to officially retire her jersey, but we'll see. I don't know. I know it's like a long haul,
Right.
but we'll see. When we get that information, we'll share it with you guys. But Kathy here is saying that she doesn't think so from Kat's post, and I haven't seen Kat's post. Sorry. There's a bajillion posts out there, but I'll be sure to peep it.
Now I do have a question for you.
Oh boy.
What do we have on tap on FloSoftball?
Oh wow. So we have got kind of some hand-picked games coming out starting tomorrow that will stream all day long. And with addition to that, some complimentary pieces of content with those teams. And then if you're an Oklahoma fan, we've created an event hub stocked full of all Oklahoma content, articles, recruiting information, short documentaries we've done, technique, all kinds of stuff for you guys. And then we're going to continue to do this for more of your favorite teams that you've seen on FloSoftball. So just stay patient with us. We're building those things out because we know that you miss those things, and we want to provide one single location for you guys to enjoy those pieces of content that you love so much.
Sweet. I'm excited.
Cool. All right, y'all. Well, we will see you on Monday. And stay safe out there. Stay positive. Move around a little bit. Dance a little bit. We can't control what's going on out there, but we can control what's going on in here. So do your best to stay safe, stay sane. And we love you guys, and we'll see you next week.